And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 89th episode of This is HEX Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin. I had a little bit of technical difficulty here getting things started with the stream, so I decided to just go ahead with it instead of trying to perfect my camera and audio and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get all that back on track eventually. The news today is that Gnosis Safe they've finally gotten around to creating their airdrop that we've all been excited for. And it looks like people who created Gnosis Safes through StakerApp, which you didn't even have to know that you were doing that, you're going to get some free money. It's been about 4 hours since the Safe token launched. So I'm going to go through with you and try to see where things are at with that. And then I also want to make some points about the type of marketing that Richard Hart has been doing, because I think it's a little bit misunderstood. And I always, appreciate any opportunity I can get to kind of explain another side of things to people, because I think it can be helpful. So that's what we will be covering in today's episode. So here's the intro. Welcome.
It's from Maddie ALLin of HEX Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man.
Maddie ALLin's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff, like, as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.
Awesome. So if you have tuned into the channel before, you probably know that I love airdrops. This is part of the reason why I think it's going to be so exciting when Pulse Chain launches, because I predict that millions of people will be interested in claiming their coins on this alternative network to Ethereum. I know I certainly like getting my free money whenever we've seen these big airdrops happen before. There was Uniswap back in the day, gave HEX people $1,200, whether you, did lots of transactions on that network, on that decentralized exchange, or whether you just did one. Like, I have a bunch of friends that I showed how to buy HEX using Uniswap, and they only spent about $20 to buy HEX, and they got $1,200 worth of Uniswap airdrop tokens. Now, in the first 3 hours of the Gnosis Safe coins existing, it didn't look like the amount that they were giving me was worth $1,200. It looked much lower than that. So it's probably too early to tell whether this airdrop will be one that's hyper valuable, or maybe it won't even be valuable enough for people to claim. But I will show you exactly how you can check your address and your balances and that sort of thing. I haven't claimed them yet. I'm happy to have figured out how many coins I got on each wallet that I created. Because with a lot of this stuff, I was a beta tester for StakerApp, and then I created my own Gnosis Safes outside of StakerApp because I think that the technology is interesting. So one person is asking if I didn't transact twice on the StakerApp, then I'm not eligible for the airdrop. That's probably what it looks like. However, you should check for yourself, because I don't think generating the app in the first place counts, but it could be if you sent Ethereum there. I'm not sure. Maybe they count that as a transaction. It's worth checking. So in the description below on YouTube, you can actually see I already put the links there so that you can check the Google Sheets document that has all the addresses and how much each got airdropped. The minimum amount that was airdropped to people was like 400 tokens, but I think some of my addresses, I can just look at it here. So one of my addresses got like almost 1,200 safe tokens, and then another one got 760 tokens. So, and those were both that probably had very little activity overall. I mean, I think it was only a handful of transactions. I mean, some of those transactions were claiming Hedron and Pulse Dogecoin. So that's kind of cool. But let me go ahead and share my screen here. So I've been waiting for this airdrop to happen for like months. So I'm glad it finally happened. I also, like I said, I hope it'll be valuable enough for us to claim. I mean, when I looked earlier, again, this is only in the first 3 hours of trading, but the tokens were worth like 3 cents each. So even, if I got several hundred of them, it's not gonna be more than like $35, which, if swap fees are low, then then that might be worth claiming and selling. But at this point, I'm happy to see what the coin does. So here's a page that's linked that says like what the distribution is. Usually there's not a whole lot you can find from this. I mean, all of them kind of divvy up the pie differently, but you really don't know in the end who controls all the coins. And looks like they got some like venture capital funds raised and stuff. So it's hard to say what the performance of the coin will be. A lot of other stuff that's been airdropped, it was like the Uniswap token was just duct taped on, like there wasn't anything special about it. In this case, again, it's like they're just picking a set of users that they like, people who have used Gnosis Safe wallets, and they actually they gave people more based on how much Ethereum they stored over time in the address, how many actions happened within the safe. The total supply, I guess, is 50 million, or maybe that's how much they're giving people. So they're also distributing based on like how much ETH you spent on transaction fees, and again, how much ETH was stored over time in the Gnosis Safe. So, and then they included only Gnosis Safes that were created before February 9th, 2022. So I think that might have been when they had announced that they were going to do an airdrop. So that's pretty relevant. But again, all you people out there want to check your address. Now, on StakerApp, your safe is associated with like 2 different addresses. And I think it's just the one that shows in the app that you need in order to check, because I'm pretty sure, I guess I can double check it now. Yeah, we all like free money. And if you sacrifice for Pulse chain, and if that chain, goes live and does really well, like we think it will, part of HEX and Pulse chain and, this whole Richard Heart ecosystem is being driven by the fact that it's such an ingenious thing for him to have figured out that he could give free money to everybody on Ethereum. And again, from a psychology perspective, I can definitely say that free money does motivate people. And so let me see here. Yeah. So I think that just the address that shows in your StakerApp will be visible on the list of, I think it's right here, but I've linked to it separately in the description below. Is like this sheet will show you all the addresses that qualified. I think there were like 10,000 or 40,000 or let me look here. Yeah, so there were 45,000, and it tells you, well, that's how many they accounted for, but I guess they included the people who got 0 tokens. People who got at least 421,000, so about half. So that's interesting. But you can see, you know, some people got way more than others, and that's part of the distribution of giving more to people who have been holding ETH in the system longer, et cetera, et cetera. Cool. So, oh yeah, and then we can, let me see, how did I find all this? Oh yeah, so this is like a brand new token, so it was a little bit hard to figure out what the contract address was, but I figured since they said what the addresses were of people who were able to claim, like this person got the most tokens, so what I did to do the chain analysis is I just copied this address and then I went to Etherscan to like even see if the tokens had started to be distributed, because I really don't have a lot of information. So I went to this person's address, who, by the way, has like $182 million worth of Ethereum and like $3 billion worth of crypto. I'm not sure if this Bitfinex token is legit or not, but either way, pretty big wallet there. And then I went down. Did they sell them already? Since, oh, here they are. So Safe token. And that says that they have like 410,000, which is more than seems like they were getting distributed. Anyway, you always have to be careful that like you don't go into like a scam address or something. But so you can check in the comments sometimes, and it says, but so basically, you know, I would want to confirm this on the official website, which again, I couldn't find that earlier. So that's why it's kind of still very early to be messing with it, but it kind of lines up with the information we've seen. I also sent 22 cents worth of HEX to this contract address, which you should never do. That money's gone forever. But the reason I did it is because I figured it's like free advertising. You know, there's like advertising up here and stuff. And so if you're like the first person to send a transaction to a contract address, it's people can go and look and be like, huh, I wonder what's in their wallet. Before it was nothing. Now there's a little bit of HEX there. So HEX marks the spot. Yeah, so I'm thinking this could be the token that we're looking for, and then there must be some claim process because 251 people have claimed it. But if I copy the contract address and then I go to DEX screener, that's the only, like Nomics didn't have it yet. You know, this is the only place where I was able to find it. So the Safe token has been paired with wrapped Ethereum. And let's look at kind of what's been going on here. So liquidity less than $1. So that's weird. Okay, somebody says that they don't think that the real airdrop has occurred yet. So that kind of takes you to my point of like, this liquidity was telling me that there's something wrong. And actually that makes way more sense, because you would expect this airdrop to be worth more than just like whatever 1,400 times 3 cents. So I guess this was like a good example of, you should always wait. You should always be cautious with this stuff, because somebody could have taken this and taken it in the wrong direction. Speaking of which, I should probably remove that from the YouTube description, just because I linked to that contract address that seems like it is not legit. But you've been able to see just in real time how I kind of do my critical thinking and look through to see if something's trustworthy or not. So all we have right now, we have the distribution plan and we have the airdrop list, and they should have done a better job for a company that tries to increase blockchain security. They should have done a better job to say like, hey, we're not live yet, and there's imitators out there, you know? That would have been the least you would expect. Access alive, what's going on? What address should I check? StakerApp address wallet or MetaMask that is connected to Gnosis wallet? So there could be overlap there, there could not be. So it's so like you could have created a Gnosis Safe outside of StakerApp. You could have loaded your StakerApp Gnosis Safe into MetaMask to claim other airdrops. But either way, it should be the address that shows in your StakerApp. That's what my testing showed, I think. I can double check that now, just so people have a really clear way to check how many tokens you got. And, you know, this, again, kind of like puts me into a good mood, because I'm excited that these could be worth more than just $30. It's taking a second for me to load the list. I did download it from Google Sheets because it is a lot of data, and if a lot of people try to access it all at once, then sometimes it can crash and like become unavailable. So I'm pasting in. Okay, yeah. So I found this address. So I can confirm that it's the one that shows in the StakerApp. That address, the public address, is what's going to show up on the Gnosis Safe list. So this other wallet is getting like 1,000 safe tokens. So that's cool. And if the total supply is like 50 million, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Bitcoin's what, 21 million? So those allocations have been posted. The coins themselves are not real yet. There's a fake airdrop since the announcement. Yep. Okay. So that's why people, another thing that you can do is you can take my chain analysis course, which is going to help you to do some of the reasoning that I did just now to make sure that you don't get hacked when you're claiming airdrops. I mean, whenever people in the HEX community, whenever we claim airdrops, we always go and check with the Pulse Police Telegram group. I will go ahead and I'll put that link here. It's t.me/Pulse Police. And that's the way that our community has found a way to like protect each other, by having people who know how to look at code. I didn't know transactions on StakerApp, but it's still interesting. Yeah. So Gnosis Safe is okay. So they did warn about fake safe tokens. Could have. I didn't come across that. So again, I would give them the same feedback that like they should have put it in big letters somewhere, or they should have, I don't know, integrated it more with their other announcements. But Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to know that you qualify for free money. It's really cool. You created a Staker app, but you never used it. Still check it out, see if it counts. I doubt that it does, but you never know. I mean, some of these, I'm surprised that some of mine qualified, actually. So let us know. Go look at that list that I've got linked in the YouTube page, or you can go to Gnosis, Gnosis dash safe, safe.io, and then you can link to how they did their distribution, and that's where the list is. And shout out to Steph from StakerApp for bringing this to our attention today on Twitter. He's really awesome. He's the reason why tens of thousands of people in the HEX community will be the ones receiving this airdrop. And that's another thing that's fascinating. I think half of the Gnosis safes that exist are due to StakerApp. So this is really big news that people who use StakerApp qualify for this airdrop. I mean, this is really big news because Hexicans now maybe own half of the entire supply of tokens. Now, maybe we didn't use them as much because staking doesn't require you as much as trading to do a bunch of transactions. So it might not be just because we had half of the safes that we get half of the tokens, but still it's even if it's only 20% or something, that's massive. I mean, how cool is that? And if people are holding on to the coins and dollar cost averaging out, I mean, that's could be a real positive thing for even the HEX price. In the past, we saw airdrops that were distributed far and wide to Hexicans actually got people lots more HEX. I mean, the Uniswap airdrop, I'll keep going back to that one because that was the one where, I mean, the people I onboarded, $1,200 worth of Uniswap tokens. That was pretty big payday. So my friends who I sent them $20 worth of ETH and said, swap this on Uniswap for HEX back in summer 2020. If they did that, they got I don't know exactly how much it was, 300,000, 400, 500,000 HEX, and then all of them staked it. And so right now they're sitting on more than 1 million HEX coins that they got for free, which is, so that just shows you the power of delaying gratification and getting an airdrop and then making the most out of it by converting it to HEX. So yeah, we so this is not being generated by StakerApp themselves. They could do an airdrop in the future, but this is just one of the technologies that they integrated with, which is why it's so cool. Yeah, Crypto Gains Club. I love crypto. That's right. That is right. So before you ever claim an airdrop, I would always recommend people to go to this Telegram group. If you're not on Telegram, sign up for Telegram just to be able to go to this group. And they might be less than welcoming if you don't read through and search to see if they already discussed the topic. Getting a bunch of people coming into a chat and not reading and expecting everybody else to do the work for them. I know I wouldn't like that in my chats. So try to be respectful when you join these communities that are working for you for free to provide such a valuable service, to say whether they see any red flags. And this is a major attack vector, is airdrops, because you could click on a link to a fake token and then they could gain access to your crypto funds. This is literally why, if you watched the end of Game Theory Gang, the episode that I did with David Feeder and Hodpearl on Tuesday, you heard me talking about the thing that I'm building. I'm designing and producing a new tool that should help everybody with their crypto security. And yeah, so it's kind of funny that I just announced that the other day. I kind of hinted at it and said that it, you know, it's, I can't tell you everything yet because it's security related in terms of like keeping your crypto secure, and it's you know, it's not done yet. But I also don't want to blindside people, you know, that all of a sudden I have something, you know, I'm releasing a crypto product really kind of the second time, because t-shirt.app and go.tshirt.app are really useful front ends for Hex. But you know, I want people to know, yes, I'm working on something. Yes, I'm excited about it, and it's really designed to be able to increase your security, because it's hard when you have when you have money locked for 15 years, and then you can't transfer that, or you know, any link you click on could compromise your wallet. And that's why I would also recommend like not chasing airdrops from the same wallet that you're using as your big store of value over time. Like that's another strategy that I use. And so um, but at the end of the day, me educating people about their crypto security is not as powerful as just building it in to essentially like, you know, a wallet or a smart contract or that sort of thing. And so that's exactly what we're doing, is we're designing something that's going to be, I think, very valuable. It's something that I'm going to use to increase my security, and should hopefully make it really easy for other people to upgrade to basically the really cool claim that we're hoping to be able to make, which we can't make yet, but like the goal is, we think we found a way to be able to steal your funds back if a hacker compromises your private key. Like even in that case, these are things that you would be able to set up ahead of time that would be a series of smart contracts that would stop them from being able to abscond with the funds. So yes, thank you, David, for confirming that. The real one is not out yet. It will be called the Safe token, but it's not out yet. Yeah, thanks for the encouragement, everyone. So the headline should be that all we got today from Gnosis Safe was the balances of how many tokens we'll get from the airdrop. The actual airdrop has not been distributed yet. So yeah, I think it's you know, there's a lot of stuff happening in crypto. This is what happens in a bear market, is people are building stuff and trying to make things that can improve the next cycle. So yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, you know, the level of excitement that I have now that I figured out what's possible is just it's really cool. And the security part is only really about maybe half or a third of what we're cooking up and already, you know, working on code for. But you know, the other thing is, at the end of the day, software is hard, and really it's understanding really like all the effects of the game theory that you build into things, you know. And that's why I don't, you know, I'm not going to have a prediction for when my product is going to be ready, but just to know that it's well on its way in the design phase and the production phase of the code and everything, like, you know, that's exciting enough really to motivate me. So yeah, very good, very good. So the other thing that I really wanted to talk about today was just like some of the outrage marketing that Richard has done, I think, is being misunderstood. So I just want to like reiterate things that have been said publicly, you know, that Richard has said himself, and you can verify on, you know, the website hexsearch.io if you don't, I guess, have as good of a memory as I do, or maybe you weren't around in the early days. And so, you know, now you have this tool to where you can just type in like a search term, and then it'll take you directly to where he said it in all of his YouTube live streams for all of time. But so basically, like, so there's a couple of things I think that people are criticizing Richard on that really really don't concern me, and I remain like more bullish than ever on HEX. Again, because we have the best founder, we have the best community, we have the best logo, we have the best game theory, and we have the best, did I say community? Yes, but I'm going to say it again. You guys rock. So, yeah. We've, this isn't just like reversing something willy-nilly. It's like, charting out all the permutations of what could happen and how your seed could be compromised, and basically just adding more features to, I don't want to say too much, but it's like, you could have lots of safes within safes. So it's more than just, because on blockchain, you can't reverse a transaction, on the blockchain, you can't automate things, but there are certainly rules that you can set up ahead of time. Bitfinesse has a good point that that maybe it's only 12 people out of 12,000 that are criticizing Richard. But I mean, even on the stream with Hexologist earlier today, like, he does the daily news. He's the most devout Hexican and everything. And but again, I just want to bring my perspective of psychology and kind of, give the other side of the story about why Gucci marketing is better than traditional marketing. So like, Richard is extremely capital efficient. Like, we see this in everything that he does. He doesn't just waste money. And so you might ask yourself, like, well, why is it that he's willing to spend $5,000 on an outfit that that looks so goofy or attention grabbing that tons of people will tweet about it on the internet, like, make a huge buzz, right? We've seen Richard Hart trending on Twitter because of the outfits that he wears, right? And I hope that everybody can come to like understand the genius behind that, because the number of impressions and the number of followers that he's getting, like the exposure that he's getting from those outfits, is far beyond what it would cost for him to pay for that kind of exposure. And it doesn't matter whether like, whether you think the best form of advertising is Facebook or Google, but like, those are the two biggest advertising companies in the world. And then there's like, because remember, Google owns YouTube, Facebook owns Facebook and Instagram and a bunch of other stuff. And, they have all these sub companies that are out there tracking everybody's internet behavior, saving cookies, and creating these marketing profiles for you that are like violating your privacy, and are designed to try to connect you with better products at best, but at worst they are making you the product and making it seem like services are free when really they're generating billions of dollars off of people's private information. So this is it's a situation of like middlemen taking advantage of people. And so that's why I think it's so genius that, like, instead of Richard trying to pay for advertising by enriching Mark Zuckerberg and all the guys at Google and all that kind of stuff, he's taking a much more organic and frankly a more effective path of, like, instead of paying $3 per click and you're only getting 1,000 clicks and you're trying to force advertising on somebody, like, instead people are so like amused by his outfits and his twerking and all that kind of stuff, like, he's getting tons of free press, like millions of dollars worth of free press, like just from a $5,000 outfit. So when people criticize him for like, oh, why is the founder spending so much money on clothes and that sort of thing? You have to really dig deep and see like what value that's creating. And again, I think it's something I didn't appreciate at first, but now I'm like, wow, that's really ingenious, and it speaks, I think, extremely positively towards his character, that he's that free thinking and that principled enough to like be able to resist capitulating to this like legacy advertising system that's not healthy for people. So like I see goofy Gucci outfits is way healthier for people than than the alternative of big advertising. So yeah, so we're getting a lot of exposure from that, and that's like, so I think that's really exciting. And then I guess the other thing people have been talking about when it comes to Richard is like how his accent changes, and some people would call that like code switching. And look, that's normal. People who have lived in different places, that happens naturally. So if I if I'm the one with like the most psychology experience out of most of the streamers, like, I'll be the one to tell you like that checks out. Okay. So I could also understand how it does like confuse some people who maybe aren't used to that, and they associate it with maybe like a hidden identity or something. Like, I don't think that could be farther from the truth, first of all. And second of all, I think like, why wouldn't you want a founder and somebody who is like such a visionary? Why wouldn't you want them to have experience in different accents and subcultures and stuff like that? So when people saw Richard on BitBoy's stream, for example, and he was speaking more hood type of dialect, you could say. I really see that as a strength, not a weakness. I see it as a feature, not a bug. I see it as him like being true to his kind of like multicultural background. We know that Richard has said publicly that he went to an all-black school. Well, not all black, but that he went to a majority black school that had a gifted program, and he obviously didn't discriminate about people based on his friend groups and everything, and his business dealings based on people's color and that sort of thing. So again, I could see why people would find it strange that somebody's accent would change, but it's I think it's pretty normal, and it's actually a good sign. People who grew up eating caviar with a silver spoon in their mouth, like, it's true that those people are less likely to have to sell a token, but they also don't always make the best leaders because they haven't faced adversity, because they haven't really proven themselves with a track record starting from nothing. There are lots of founders in the world that invent these like humble backstories because it plays well with people. And I haven't ever heard Richard like even market based on his own background, which is more of like does have more of a genuine feel to it, right? I think that he's a rare case of somebody who is a self-made billionaire. And because he was self-made in Bitcoin, that allowed him to unlock this, or well, I mean, he was a self-made millionaire before Bitcoin even came along. So that really gave him an advantage to not have to sell crypto as it was going up thousands of X, millions of X from a penny. And so I think that that's really unique. And I think that that's one of the winning recipes in HEX, is that the founder doesn't have to sell, and that the founder has the best of both worlds when it comes to like being a billionaire, but also being self-made. And again, like, Elon Musk, like sleeping on people's couches, sure, I'm sure that's true, but that doesn't mean that he was, really raised from the most humble beginnings. Bill Gates was like a very, very privileged. He was somebody who got access to some of the first computers in the world when he was in high school, and most like grad students and stuff were not getting access to computers at that time. So I think it's even more incredible what Richard has achieved and the type of character and you know diverse background that he has. So that's why I really wanted to cover that on this stream, because it's kind of frustrating when people take the change in his accent and his dialect as being something negative. It's not. I don't believe at all that it's him like trying to appeal to a different audience. Like, I think it's just a natural thing that people do when they've had multicultural experiences. Hit the like and subscribe button here if you appreciate this. Yeah, free advertising. Pulse Chain is going to be resilient AF. Look at all the different opinions, beliefs, desires, wants, needs we have in the ecosystem now. Some see bugs, we see features. Great perspective. Big Conrad fan. So why wouldn't I ask and support his token? Just like he supports and chills HEX, just saying, we all have our own investments. Those that know him, of course, those that don't, it was a big cringe. I don't know. I went to a high school that was not majority white, and maybe I don't see it the same way as everybody else. I understand that Richard's accent changed a lot, right? Like, I'm aware of that. I just don't find that weird, and I certainly don't find it cringe. So, but I'm seeing a lot of community members saying that. So like, I don't want to discount it. I'm trying to kind of reason through what the different perspectives are. It's totally natural. I get around my family in England and my accent comes out. I get around my country boys and my country tone comes out. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Hexicans are criticizing more than people on the outside. I think it's just it's worth addressing that the accent switching, the code switching. It's worth addressing just because people are bringing it up. Like I wouldn't have brought it up if it wasn't brought up on Hexologist stream, if if I didn't see other people talking about it and saying something. But again, I see it as a feature, not a bug. And but at the end of the day, I don't really speak for the consensus of the world. Yeah, and then there's also the aspect of like Hexicans thinking that they own RH. Like, nothing could be farther from the truth. Like, if you don't appreciate the person who is pumping your bags, and like just being out there, really donating his time. Like, just because you bought a token that he created doesn't mean he has to promote the thing. And a lot of founders give up supporting the tokens that they created. Like, Richard has done an outstanding job of educating really the world, anybody who will listen, about like what the difference is between a security and something that's just launched in a completely legal way. So that comes with part of the Howey test, is that you can't expect work from somebody who creates something as a part of these 4 different criteria for whether something is needs to be registered as a financial security, or whether it's something that just falls under free speech. The blockchain, when it's done right, which is rare, but just releasing code into the world, that's free speech. And if that code, gives free coins to Bitcoin holders and like distributes the rest of the coins, that's does not qualify as a security unless somebody comes along and makes a bunch of promises that that they're going to develop a bunch of features that don't exist yet. Well, Hex launched as a finished product, so people can't people really can't make the case because there's such a lack of evidence that it's a security, and that's cool. That's like a strength. Accent is free speech. I like that. It is cringe when he speaks proper English to more traditional audiences. I don't know. I think that at this point, we're in a bear market. People are nitpicking about everything. Like, I, for one, am enthusiastic about Richard being in the United States. I'm enthusiastic about just everything that's coming up in HEX, the documentary, the community, the free money, the airdrops, right? All this stuff is like, it's all looking good. Also a sales tactic. I don't know. You'd have to explain that more. Like, I don't see people saying like, he switched accents, now I want to buy HEX. Right? Is that what you're saying? I can relate. The way I spoke as a kid from the streets is far from how I speak as a professional. There you go. Thanks for addressing PZen, Maddie. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. Like, I actually spent like, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes in the Telegram group for that earlier today, just like breaking down my thoughts more than I did on Tuesday night. So whether you're being sarcastic or not, you're welcome for like, giving a optimistic view of PZen. I think that people trust me because I, I give the best analysis that I can, and I say good and bad things about stuff, whether I own it or not. And I try to be extremely transparent about what I do own, because that's the best case scenario. Like, I don't have to do that, but I'm concerned about the ethics of being a broadcaster. Like, I don't want to be a fake guru. I don't want to be even like an influencer. I want to be a teacher, and somebody who is training you to do your own research. That's why I supported Pulse Hotlist, because it's a do your own research tool. That's why I created a course that people can take for free about chain analysis. So you can do your own research and learn the things that I've learned that help me to decide where to put my eggs. So yeah, there you go. Like, people have, I think thousands of people have seen like my take on More Token, which like, I don't have any more of those. Like, I like bought $500 worth and then sold $500 worth, because like, I was getting burnt out on meme tokens. So like, the timing of like how I did that was not, like, it didn't have anything to do with last night's show. I think I said a week before that or something, or maybe a few days before that, like that I wasn't, I don't have to hold something to think it's interesting and to talk about it, is basically my point. Like, that's different than probably most people on YouTube who are trying to profit from their audience. For me, I'm just trying to pay it forward in the crypto knowledge that I've gotten, in the fact that I'm financially free. Like, I want more people to have the skills to be able to do that. So same thing with like PZen, I do hold some of those tokens that I bought, and I think I'm up like a 2x. And Richard said some negative things about PZen, and like, I've said some positive things about it, but I don't know. And like, I don't think that you should risk your money on something that you don't know about compared to Hex, because I really think Hex is the move right now. Like, if you don't have enough Hex, or if you have money that you're looking to, like, you know, Hex is the thing I believe in the most in the crypto space. And then, like, I do allocate, 2% of my portfolio, which really, like, every time I bring it back down to zero of like other coins, then I get another airdrop that's worth like thousands of dollars. So it's like, sometimes I move some of my free airdrop money into things that I think are interesting. Like, I think that PZen is interesting because Conrad Zen, I think, is a billionaire. And I don't see a whole lot of billionaires who are launching their tokens after they've already made billions in other coins. I think like Richard did that. And so that's a plus for PZen. I think the negative for PZen is like, it hasn't existed for very long and there's lots of FUD about it. And some of the FUD might be true. We don't know yet. Like, so I even said on the Twitter space or the Telegram spaces earlier today, which I think was recorded, so you can check out like my full analysis probably. But I don't know. I might sell, sometime soon. I might sell in a 10x. I might sell at a loss. I don't really know what I'm going to do with PZen, but like, I know that I'm going to be watching it because I want to know what how it goes with Conrad having created his own coin. I think that's kind of interesting. Can I explain the T-Share app? Yeah, I would love to. So that's a front end that I made with a trusted programmer in the crypto space, and we did it for free, and we don't charge a fee. And it's a front end for Hex. It basically allows you to stake using like a mobile phone with MetaMask. It also works on desktop and browser, and it's got a 15-second game at the beginning where you like are able to visualize without using any numbers that like longer pays better. So you're like picking up a heart with a claw, and it's to like stop you from trying to explain to all your onboards what T-shares are, because you're going to give people information overload. So when I onboard people, I'm like, hey, put MetaMask on your phone, then like go to tshare.app, and then I send them a little bit of Hex and a little bit of Ethereum. And then I like tell them to play the game and pick up like one of the 3 hearts. And then those hearts correspond to a 5, 10, and 15-year stake. And so when Hex is so cheap here around like 5 cents, and when when gas fees are low, I can send somebody like, I mean, not everybody can send people this much, but like if I send people $100 worth of Hex, then like I can tell them to go do a 5, 10, and 15-year stake by playing the game 3 times and picking up 3 different hearts. And every time they pick up a heart, it creates a stake for them, basically. And like it all works through MetaMask, and like it links to go.hex.com, which is the official front end, so you can like verify that these are really being created. But yeah, it's really sweet. And then go.tshare.app is like another place you can see it like shows up better on your mobile device or even on your browser. Like it's easier to read the information about each of your stakes, and you're able to connect that. So if you really want to see all the information, I actually made a Pulse hot list entry about it because there wasn't really the best documentation, and they didn't give it a super high score because they said like it's just better to use the official front end. But at the end of the day, I mean, they've been making front ends that they don't give low scores to, so I think it's just I mean, I would give it a better score than this, but whatever. So this is the page. So if you go to pulsehotlist.com/tshare.app, then I can post that link here in the chat. It's going to tell you like the different, this is like the write-up I did on it. So, and the tagline is like, it's a suite of 3 different HEX front ends. And then here's the write-up that I did. So the TShareApp products by Maddie ALLin and Future Us is a suite of 3 HEX front ends appealing to different user bases and includes tshare.app, go.tshare.app, and cuatrocincos.club. For users who are new to HEX, tshare.app without go dot in the URL is an onboarding tool that's web-based, so it's not in the App Store. It simplifies certain onboarding steps from finding the right MetaMask installation to buying and staking HEX, all within MetaMask. Once connected with MetaMask, users play a 15-second game where they drop a claw to pick up one of 3 stuffed hearts, small, medium, and large, corresponding to 5, 10, and 15-year stakes. Next, users buy ETH via MetaMask's country-specific detection for fiat on-ramp options and our intuitive user interface. In some cases, Apple Pay is an option. Then, still within our website that is acting kind of like an app if you're accessing it from your phone, but again, it's not in the App Store. It's just at the website tshare.app. It pulls up a browser within MetaMask that takes you to ethhex.com, which is the front end for like Uniswap with HEX trading pair. And so that's integrated for swapping HEX, for swapping ETH to HEX. And the user is prompted to save some of the ETH for gas fees so that you can stake. So it's like teaching people all the things that we would teach them if we were walking them through in person, but it's you know, you can automate that basically. Like, I want HEX to scale, so this is an experiment we did like 15 months ago, and like, so this is cool. Finally, the 5, 10, and 15-year stake, it has a maximum of 500 HEX or less. They can be executed via MetaMask approval. And the reason for that, I don't think I specified it here, but the reason that 500 HEX is the limit is because it's so easy to create a stake using this front end that we were literally worried that OGs would accidentally just like press the buttons a couple times and then they would lock all of their liquid HEX up. And if they did that right as the day rolled over, we were fearful that somebody could we literally made it too easy for people to stake, to the point where we had to make it more difficult. We had to solve that. And so, there's a 500 HEX limit. Although if you only have like 10 HEX in your wallet, you're allowed to stake 10 HEX. It's just a 500 HEX limit for each stake that you make using just tshare.app. Now, users can also skip the game and go straight to go.tshare.app, and that allows you to stake any amount of HEX for any duration. So then in this next section, I describe, so for intermediate to advanced users, go.tshare.app is an open source front end for HEX staking, which doesn't charge a fee and gives users more information about the value of their stakes than any other staking site/app. It requires you to connect via MetaMask as read only without asking for token approvals. Go.tshare.app offers several innovations over go.hex.com. It's formatted better for MetaMask's mobile browser as well as other mobile browsers. The site automatically links to a device-specific MetaMask download that's official if no previous installation is detected. That's so cool. So like if you send somebody to tshare.app or go.tshare.app and they don't already have MetaMask, that's the first thing it'll do, is it'll pop up, hey, time to get MetaMask, which the reason we were testing out these features is because we're hoping that it'll get adopted in the real front end at some point, or who knows. It's just cool to be able to do things in a more optimized way. Now, once a single account is connected, it can be used to view non-connected accounts by adding addresses via a URL kind of like composition. So whenever you type, so like, for example, this is my streaming computer, so I don't put crypto on here. And like, so I have a MetaMask account on here that just, I don't think has any crypto in it, or maybe it only has like $20 worth. And so that's what I recommend people use, really, if you're unsure about something, or if you just want to reduce your attack vectors. This doesn't seem risky to me, because it's read only, and it's designed with security in mind. But like, just in general, it's a good habit if you're interacting with websites that require you to connect in order to use them. It's really good practice to just have a separate account. And if you're on your desktop computer and you go on Google Chrome, you can actually go to like up here. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. It's right up here. It won't let me zoom in on the taskbar, but there's like a little place where you can put your icon. And so if you click on that, then it'll allow you to open up other profiles, and you can do a separate installation of a different MetaMask. So anyway, that's what I've done here. And so when I click on my MetaMask and I type in my password, then I have an account that it looks like it doesn't have anything in it. So that's the account that I would use to connect to something. So like, if I connect to this account, oh, it's not going to let me copy that. I have to go into my notes and find where I submitted this to them. But I can demonstrate it here. Okay, so I'm having trouble just pulling that text out of there, which is, I guess, a good thing, because it's like protecting the copyright or whatever. But I will be able to show this here in a second. I just have to go through my messages and find where I submitted it to them. Oh yeah, I submitted it on their website. Okay, so I have to go. I have to go here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so if I put in go.tshare.app / account equals, and then an address that I'm not using to connect. So this account has no stake data. So the one that I'm in right now, that is my kind of like dummy account for showing on streaming. And then here's like my donation address down here listed as a separate address. So, so I can, basically what I'm trying to show you is you can look at other people's public addresses and see a better visualization of their stakes, and like how much progress they have, and when they started, and how much it would be if you emergency end staked today. This account in particular, since it hasn't served half of its time, would get nothing. Another thing we can do, I think I have this preloaded, so it's going to be way easier. I just have to find it, but I promise this next part will be worth it. Because I can also show you all of the origin address stakes that exist, which is really impressive. So you can add as many addresses as you want to this to be able to look at as many accounts as you want. And so it has the instructions here. You can do and account equals and then put the next address, and you can do that as many times as you want. So if I go to my origin address analytics, then it's going to load. Maybe I don't have it pulled up already for the OA stakes. Oh, there we go. I found it. Okay, so I can just plug in all of the known origin address wallets. And there's like 9 staking addresses associated with that. And then you can see for each address, it's going to show me the active stakes and what the US dollar value is. And then it can break down for each different stake that exists. It can break down the data for all of that. So you can see I've connected a wallet that doesn't have anything in it, but I'm able to see other people's wallets and I'm able to see really specific data. And I can do this on mobile or on desktop. So that's why I like this tool. That's why this tool is really cool. And then, if I logged in, so if I logged into an account on a different profile that does have crypto in it, let me see if I've got that ready to go. Because then I can show you the other thing you can do with this site. Because it is a fully functional front end. Yeah, so that's really cool. You can see all of the different OA accounts. There's 128 million, 68 million, 231 million, 91 million, 211 million, 72 million, 97 million, 102 million, 78 million. Again, you can see for each of those, like when the stakes come out. Here's one that's coming up. On day 1095, which is in the end of November. So that's pretty cool. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to show my other screen now. Okay, so here's an account that actually has HEX in it that is connected. And so you can see here, it'll let me choose any amount of HEX for any amount of days. But if I click here, I can go back to the game and it'll show me that. So with the game, I tap here to get started. The token falls into the controller system, and then the controls only go up and to the right. So there's no going to the left or back. And so here are the 3 different hearts that can be picked up. The game is hard enough, you can lose it. And then you hit this drop button right here before the timer runs out. And now I've picked up the biggest heart there. And this is cool because it's a visualization of exactly how much better you're getting paid for staking longer. You're not getting more T shares in between 10 and 15 years, but you are getting those T shares at a cheaper rate for longer. So most people don't need to understand that level. And that's why I've tried to simplify it here. And again, if you're onboarding somebody, all they need to know is longer pays better. Like, you know, what I do is I get people to create a staking ladder where, you know, you could put like about, well, it was just a week or two ago, I gifted like each member of a family like $100 worth of HEX, and then I had like the 14-year-old daughter. I taught her first, and I had her create a 15-year, a 10-year, and a 5-year, and then it just so happened that because of the price of HEX, she had 25% of what I had sent her left over. So she had a 4-step ladder: 15, 10, 5, and 0, holding it liquid. So if the price goes up, she's all set. And I had her write down the seed words on 2 different pieces of paper, and trained her on all that. It only took a couple minutes, and then I got her to train her little sister and to train her mom. And so now she knows it better because she taught other people how to play this game, and it just worked out super well. So the first time I play this, I can hit keep prize, and then it auto detects that I already have HEX and that I already have enough Ethereum to cover the gas fee, which is really cool. And if I didn't have any of those, it would give me a link to fix the problem. It's like to swap ETH for HEX, or to buy ETH, or to buy more ETH because I don't have enough to cover the gas fee. So literally, I just hit this button, and you can't see that it pops up in MetaMask because I'm not sharing my entire screen. I guess I can do that really quick. Just have to close out of some things. Move some stuff around. Share screen, share the entire screen. Okay, so when I go here, when I hit this mint prize button, it's going to pop up over here in MetaMask, and it's going to stake 500 HEX for 15 years. I hit the confirm button, and then it's going to tell me success. And it's going to give me status updates right here about that transaction going through. And I think I paid like $2 in gas just now. So that's a little bit higher than I would like, but I guess that's what Pulse Chain's being created for. So it's awaiting confirmation. Of course, I can go up here to MetaMask, and I can see the stake start pending here. I can view the account on Etherscan, and then I can click on the transaction hash over here, and it'll give me an estimate for when it'll be done. It's giving me a really bad estimate, saying it's going to be more than an hour. I highly, highly, highly doubt that. It looks like the app suggested a really nice amount of GUI, like 9.8 GUI, and the average is 14 right now. So all the people who are doing their swaps are going to get those done, and then this will probably confirm in a minute or two, probably. But that's the thing about this. I can actually go back and play the game again, and then it'll just run my different stakes over and over again. It'll put them through all on the same block. So if I hit start over here, then I can play the game again. I can go back and get that middle-sized heart, which again is going to help create the staking ladder that I want. So I'm going up and to the right, and then I'm dropping, when it lights up, I'm dropping the claw, picks it up for me, tells me that I won a fluffy heart because I played the game, right? It's a digital heart. This HEX isn't free, it's like I have to pay for it. So again, it does the check. It knows I have enough HEX. It knows I have enough gas fees. And so I can hit the mint prize and do a 500 HEX, send it to myself 10 years in the future. The gas fees are spiking up way higher now, which it would be smarter for me to just set it at what it was before, because this transaction isn't going to go through until the next until the first transaction goes through, because the first transaction is like paying less gas. So I'm kind of wasting $1 here by not setting it lower, but I also don't want it to like fail super hard while I'm doing a live stream. So I'm willing to pay that little bit extra to just like keep showing more stuff. And so if I go over here to Ethereum, I can hit the refresh button on Etherscan. This is still taking its time. The number of GUE is up to like 18 for now. Really, I don't mind if I wait a day or two for this to confirm, because it's not like I'm doing a swap where the price is going to change all of a sudden. So I don't really think it's that much of an issue. I can go and I can play the game a third time, really, so I'm not losing my onboard and their experience. Basically what I'm saying is all this is going to work out in the end, even if they keep playing the game and don't wait for the transaction to confirm. Picking up the final heart that is representing the 5-year stake, hit keep prize, hit mint prize, pops up to confirm in MetaMask that I want to start a stake. Those gas fees are soul crushing right now. Can't wait for Pulse Chain. And so again, here's the link to go to the front end that's, made in HEX. And we can see that that the blockchain hasn't confirmed those pending ones yet, but we can see that there were ones made previously, a couple there. So that doesn't really prove anything until we have our blockchain catch up with us. And it's all going to be kind of waiting on that first transaction because it had the lowest gas. So the Ethereum miners are just going to have to let this one through eventually when they don't have other ones to confirm. And, so now I can see that there are 3 pending that are waiting to be confirmed. So I will come back to that here, I guess, in a minute when it confirms, but that is the full total rundown of the T-shirt app. You guys just wait till Richard pivots back to keyboard content. What's your favorite off-ramp when you take profits? I use Coinbase. I do little bits at a time so that they don't hold it all at the same time. What factors dictate the HEX daily payout per T-share, and does that payout amount only go up like the T-share price? It varies. It's calculated based on how many other people are staked on that same day and what the total number of T-shares are and how many penalties are paid on that day, because you get a piece of the penalties of people ending their stakes early. And so if you want to read all the rules, you want to like learn the specifics, you're going to go to allmylinks.com/allin, and I will guide you now. I'll show you where you're going. So we are waiting for Ethereum to be as slow as possible. But again, these transactions aren't going to fail most likely because they're not swaps. So the price isn't changing. So I don't care if I paid less gas than these other people are at this moment. That's actually a good thing. Now, I mean, it's bad user experience if they can't see that the stakes have gone through, but it'll get there. It'll get there. So in the meantime, I'm going to go to allmylinks.com/allin. I'm gonna copy that into the chat here. It's like everywhere. It's my main thing. So on this huge long list of all my links, go down to like tools or something. Hex tools. Hex daily stats, Hex graphs. Now that's what I call Hex, volume 1. Let's go. Hex contract in lay terms is written by Nerd Girl, but the more technical version is the Hex contract in layman's terms by Dev Kyle. And this is a Google document that gives you a breakdown of like all the different functions in Hex, like what the equations are and what the code is that makes determines the payout calculation and interest. Like I can go here and it gives me the all the game theory and all the rules and what the payout is, how it's calculated. So that's it's a good place to find all the awesome details. Yeah, getting people's feet wet with like a certain number of days. That makes sense. Cool app, thank you. My pleasure to give the info as always. So yeah, I mean, I think that covers it. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. I know that sometimes like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I streamed for 3.5 hours to answer questions. Then there have been times in the past couple of weeks where I was only streaming on these nights for like 10 minutes or 30 minutes. So today's kind of right there in the middle. My camera equipment and my audio equipment were not working, so I'm using the built-in things. But hopefully this has been helpful to everybody. Let me. Wow, we still don't have confirmation. So that's okay. Again, that's what I'm saying is like the end user eventually is saving money because they're not paying that higher gas fee to make it go through automatically or like as fast as the swap needs to. But those stakes that we showed on go.tshare.app are those are submitted on the blockchain. And the other thing is we could see on Etherscan that they were there and processing. So that's the right kind of evidence. So again, to recap, safe tokens have not been distributed yet. There are scams out there that are trying to trick people. Lots and lots and lots of hexagons qualify. If you used staker.app, you can check on the list of the token distribution. But again, those tokens don't exist yet. So you got to be careful. Don't go claiming things before you check in Pulse Police in the Telegram group. So with that being said, congratulations on everybody who is getting their free money from the Gnosis Safe Airdrop brought to you by StakerApp. And shout out to them. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you liked the good news about the free money. Hopefully you got a different perspective from me about what I think about Richard changing his accent. I think that's a feature, not a bug. And I think I think everything he's doing for the space is above and beyond. And it's also very genuine. I think that the Gucci marketing is better than paying Mark Zuckerberg and Google as middlemen. And so at the end of the day, I know it's easy to be outraged by the outrage marketing, but it's I think it's all, there's still a lot to look forward to in the Hex ecosystem. So with that being said, I hope y'all stay safe out there. No pun intended. I'll be back on Tuesday night for Game Theory Gang. Until then, I'm going to be working on my my security features and smart contracts for the blockchain. So until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
It's from Maddie ALLin of Hex Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man.
Maddie ALLin's got that covered. does emotional, feel good, mind management, emotion stuff, like as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.